And welcome to the Dynasty League Baseball Online, powered by Pursue the Pennant how-to series. And today we're going to talk about draft leagues. But before we get into that, let's welcome our guest, CEO Mike Cislinski.
Hi,
Mike,
Graham.
welcome.
I am in Phoenix, Arizona, down here for spring training. Just got back from Brewers spring training camp, and I'm really excited to show people about draft leagues and all the benefits of multiplayer draft leagues. And we're going to show them, as an example, our Sunday Night Baseball League, which both you and I are in. You've become a new member this year.
Yes, very excited to be in. It's a little bumpy start to my first season ever. But yeah, it's great that you're at spring training, baseball fever. This is about the time of the year people are probably firing up these draft leagues, so I think the timing is perfect.
Exactly.
All right, so where do we go? We're here at the homepage. I just logged in. Um, what's my first
Yeah,
step here?
so what we want to do is Graham has joined as the Chicago Cubs franchise owner, and he's going
Yes.
to click on the right is where your team, as a league member, you're going
Hmm.
to have your teams there. So Sunday Night Baseball, you just click there, and that will go to your team page. So go ahead and click there.
Got it. And just to clarify, we're going to give like the league member perspective and then the commissioner perspective in a little bit. Is that the plan?
Exactly. We're going to give you kind of
Got
like
it.
the overview of what it's like to be in the league, and then we'll get into, from the commissioner perspective, how to set up the league
Got
and
it.
use the commissioner tools.
Okay, cool. All right, so I'm clicking here, clicking in where it says Sunday Night Baseball League. Hopefully you can see that. And now I'm here at my team
And there we
page.
go.
Tough
So
start, I
let's
guess you could
go
say.
to league in the very top bar where it says league
Hmm.
and go to league home.
Okay, now I know that we have trouble seeing the drop down boxes, so just to let people know, I'm clicking on league. It opens up the drop down. The first one is home, and that's what's taking me to
Right.
this page. All right.
So this is the league home where everything is happening. We've already played one series, and I have to give Graham his props. So
Hmm.
Graham's a brand new player. We just had our draft. Was it last Saturday?
Yes.
Um, and Graham played his first series of the year, and in his first game, Snell pitched a no
Yeah.
hitter.
Yes, it was an incredible first game, which gave me a lot of false hope as the rest of the series did not unfold so well. But yeah, it was a combined no-no. Snell went seven, and then I can't remember who closed it out with the last two innings. But I couldn't believe it. Really couldn't believe it.
That was just amazing start. Yeah, so
Needless to say, I'm
very,
hooked.
very cool. So we can actually, I don't know if you can scroll down on the left-hand side, it says recently completed games. I don't know if
Hmm.
we can see your game or if that's already gone by the boards.
Right here.
There it is, right
Want
there.
to, want to click it?
Yeah, let's see the game. So these
Oh,
are
it's so
all the
cool.
league games that have already been completed.
There it is, no hitter.
And there it is. No hitter in Graham's first Sunday Night Baseball League game. The Sunday Night Baseball League, by the way, has been in existence since 1985, the very first year when Pursue the Pennant debuted. And we start out with a board game, and we've migrated to the online version. We have 24 franchise owners all over the United States and even in New Zealand. So it's an amazing way to play. But yeah, you can see the first game here.
It's a
Graham
thrill
just
to be a part of the league, Mike, as someone who played the game growing up. So very cool, and it really is amazing how many teams there are. Like in a lot of people draft leagues, that's one of the challenges, just getting the right amount of teams to make it interesting. But I mean, we're going deep at the draft, and it's kind of funny. It reminds me of being a kid when baseball cards were very popular, right? I knew like every player in the major leagues, but as you get older, you're kind of focusing on your own team. But being in this league and having to go through the draft, I'm like, wow, I'm really going to have to expand my player knowledge because with 24 teams, that's a lot of,
Definitely.
We're like
the
deep into like the backup third baseman on the
the the
Reds.
prep for the draft is one of the most fun things about playing in a draft league
Hmm.
because it's so competitive. And we use the official league rules, which are in the Dynasty Baseball official rule book.
Hmm.
So we have an auction style draft, and we have our draft in the Fan Tracks draft room, and that's for the main draft. And then we do a regular pick draft for the minor league draft, which isn't really minor leaguers per se. It's everyone who's left over after the regular draft is over. And we have salaries and contracts. If you missed it, we covered the new contracts and salary page. I'm not going to go too much into that since we did a whole episode on that, but please take a look at that, because that is a really cool new feature to track all of your salaries and contracts for your league. One of the so I should explain about the official league rules. They were really adopted from Dan Okrent's official rule book that came out, oh, I want to say like late 80s, early 90s. I can't remember the exact year, but it's basically baseball simulation rules for rotisserie league baseball, where you have an auction draft and then you continue building your team through the seasons, and you have basically a 3-year contract for all the players that you draft, and then the fourth year is the option year. It's about as
Hmm.
simple as I can make it. And so then your option year, you decide, okay, am I going to extend the player to a long-term contract at more money that's guaranteed? Am I going to release the player back into free agency, or do I just keep the player? Um, so there's two options. You could, after year 3, you can decide that you're going to release him or keep him, and then you'd have him also for year 4, if you don't decide to give him a guaranteed contract. It'll make more sense when you look through the rule book.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and that way it really keeps a lot of talent flowing back into the draft, which is really important. And it keeps people from hoarding talent forever, right? Because you
Hmm.
don't want to have teams hoarding talent forever, and then everyone else is at this disadvantage, including new franchises that come into the league. They have no talent to acquire and compete because, someone's got Barry Bonds for 20 years, right?
Right. Right.
So, yeah, so it really works out in terms of making things, I guess, fair and competitive for the whole league. I mean, there's teams that tend to win more often than others, but
Hmm.
overall, we have a lot of different league champions and teams that make the playoffs. So it's
Yeah.
not the same teams every year that they're winning the championship. So
Yeah.
and it's a
I just
really competitive league. We've got a lot of really good franchise owners, so it's very, very competitive.
Yeah, and giving the video on this the draft league, I will tell you it's just great because first of all, half of my roster, not half, a third of my roster I didn't necessarily know ahead of the draft. And now I'm with these guys for a few years. I know that. So it really increases the stakes for the games, which I think is great. So anyway, yeah. Well, okay, so this is my first game, but where did we want to start do we want to go back to the
So let's go back to the league home.
okay.
And when you're in a league, you have your schedule. So up in the upper left-hand corner, those are the recently completed games. There are no games in progress. One really cool thing is if there is a game in progress, you can actually follow that game or games in real time. It's like scoreboard watching.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
you not only see the score, but if you click on the game, you will see the box score and game summary being updated in real time. So it's
Wow.
just like even better than scoreboard watching, right? Because you actually get to see the box score and the game summary updated in real time, so you know exactly what's happening, and that's really fun, as especially as you get into the pennant races and you're following the other teams in your league,
Right.
and you can see how they're doing, right?
That's awesome.
So
Yeah.
then on the right hand side, we've got the current upcoming series. You can see here, Graham, where who do you have next here? You're going to be
Milwaukee.
playing at Milwaukee for your next, and that in parentheses, that's how long the series is. It's 4 games. Now we start out with 4 games. This is just our schedule. 4 games within our league, and then 3 games for the interleague series. And then as you scroll down, you can see the league injuries, and you can click on that.
Hey, there's Royce Lewis.
And there I am. Royce Lewis is on my. I'm St. Louis. I lost him for 88 days. It was a doctor report result.
Oh
And
man,
if
that's
you
funny.
played the game, and you know that doctor result, you roll 2 dice,
Mm.
and the number of days that he's going to be injured is the result of that 2 dice roll. Well, I rolled a 90 out of 0 to 99. So I lost him for 90 days. So I
Awesome.
actually will get him back because our season is 108 games on the schedule. So I will
Good
get him
stretch.
back, but definitely huge blow. And it was in game 2 of the season. So,
Th- That is
but you
fun.
draft the F durability player, you take
You
that
pay,
risk. I
you
mean,
pay the
you
price.
know that, and I had plans, and I drafted Mike Moustakas as my backup third
Mm.
baseman. So I did have a plan B for this event happening, but I didn't see it happening this quickly or for that long, because normally the most frequent result for F durability is going to be a 60-day DL. But anyways, that's just my.
Mm. Oh
So
wow.
let's go back. So those are the injuries. They're all listed
Hey,
there. So let's go back to league home.
sure. Quick math, by the way. Royce Lewis's injury is more than every other player's injury combined. So
Thank you
take
for reminding
solace.
me.
There you go. Okay, so we see league injuries, and then we got the teams,
So
and then
yeah,
we got
so then here's our teams in the league. So you can see all 24 teams. You can see we're all over the place. Every state, well, not every state, but states all over. Jason's in New Zealand. So yeah. And then in the middle, that shows our history of who's been the champion, who's been the player. And this is all done automatically, and it's archived
mm,
after you finish each season. And if you click on that, you can see the complete standings and all the stats archived for that season. So it
really.
will take you back to everything that happened
Oh, in the playoffs.
during any of those previous seasons. So um,
Wow.
let's go back to your yeah, so this was last year. So you can see here is our
You were in the LCS last year?
I was in the LCS. I lost 4-1 in the LCS. I won the division series against Philadelphia. You can see 3-1. I won my division, but fell short
Uh,
in the LCS. So
Verlander taken down twice in the
yeah,
series.
Verlander was taken down. There's some untimely home runs against
Wow.
him with men on base that were incredibly damaging.
You had to feel
But
good being able to throw him twice in 5 games, and then
yeah, well, that's what I figured, that I'd have a good chance of going a long way in the playoffs with him. They'd
oh,
be tough to
look,
beat, but
all right.
didn't happen. So let's go over to we showed the league page. Let's just take the perspective of going to your team page here now and
Okay.
go back to the team Cubs. Make sure you're on the right season here now.
So team, and then I'm gonna scroll, or should I just? Oh, I can just click my link down here. Just click right
Yeah,
here.
you can just click yeah, you can click your team. You can do it
Oh,
either
that's
way.
oh cool. That's very easy. Here I am. All right.
So in the upper left, that's going to be your next scheduled series, which is actually today at 8
Hmm.
o'clock. And you can easily reschedule the series. Now, here's the thing about being in a draft league. And when I recruit people, one of the things that's the most common thing that they'll say is, I'm not sure if I have enough time. Well, here's the thing. Let's say you're busy this weekend, and you can't make this game. Fine. You can reschedule you've got an entire week because we play once a week on Sunday nights. So you've got an
Right.
entire week to reschedule that series. If you find that you don't have the time, even through the entire week, no problem, because the computer manager will play your series for you. Okay. So the league is going to stop and start exactly as the schedule shows. So I didn't check when our end date is, but it's like around October that we're going to end. But we're going to end exactly on that date. So the
Got it.
league goes like clockwork, right?
Now, what
So
happens if you
everything,
don't? Sorry to interrupt you, but what happens if you have a game and it says it's rescheduled, right? And that game's today at 8. Let's say that I don't make the series, nor does the other player, but we haven't selected a reschedule date. Will it automatically play it because it wants it to be
yeah.
done
So
then?
there is a
So we
play
have
by
to.
date.
Got
Yeah,
it.
so you have until I think it's like Sunday at 3 o'clock just for either you or your opponent to play it against the computer manager, or if neither of you play, then what happens is that uh, the computer versus computer will take over, and it'll play against each other. So yeah, Graham's doing his reschedule request. So the rescheduled request will go into the messages of your opponent. And then all he has to do is he is going to accept or reject. If he rejects, he can um, uh, provide an alternative date that he thinks will work out better for him. And then you guys arrive at a time that is suitable for you and you play your series. So the scheduler is really works well.
Hmm.
Um, I really like the reschedule aspect, and it makes it really easy, if you can't make that exact time to reschedule. So you're
Hmm.
not locked in to that having to be exactly at that time. So in fact, probably most of the games get rescheduled and it ends up being a different date.
Hmm.
So when you do the reschedule, you just check your messages. That's at the very top there, and your opponent will see accept or reject. You won't see it on your end, but your opponent will see to accept um, the reschedule request. So what else can we talk about? We can
I have a
just
question for you.
quickly go and click on the set manager profile. I'm not going to go too much into this, but that's where you make your settings for your computer manager.
Oh,
So is it
cool.
coming up?
It's still loading. Here
Okay.
it comes. A little bit of lag.
Now,
This is
what
not
we
typical.
found
Ooh.
is that people just enjoy the live experience so much that
Hmm.
almost every game gets played live because it's so easy to play live games against your opponent. But
Hmm.
here are all the different options that you have in terms of the lineups, the pitching, the base running, the bunting, and all the
Wow.
various settings that you can go. And there's just a lot there. So I'm not going to get too much into it, but yeah, you can see like all your
This is my
players are
team right
listed
here.
there,
Yeah.
and all the different settings for pinch hitting, pinch running, your defense. Um, so yeah, there's everything that you could
This is an
almost.
incredible amount of customizing that you can do and like an incredible amount of detail in this game. I mean, if you had any question about how much is going into this game, just click through these tabs. This is like everything. So anyway,
Yeah, so you can really fine tune your computer manager.
It's
But there's a
crazy.
lot to go through.
Wow.
But yeah,
Look at
but
this.
like I
Even the
said, most
question of
games are,
early or late hook, like set
yeah,
the time that you think you would like to pull out your starting pitcher. That's incredible.
right,
Yeah, but anyway,
right.
no, I
Real,
agree
real
with you.
simple.
The best part is being live with someone on the other end who's just as invested in the game as you are. So definitely playing it
Exactly.
is the optimal experience, I would say.
Something about the playing another person, I don't know. Well, I don't know quite what it is, but there is just a lot more juice that is going on there when you're
Yeah,
playing another person. It's a different kind of experience than playing the computer manager.
yeah.
And it's competitive. I look forward to my league games just so much and playing them live.
Hmm.
So, if we covered in the how to play a series, how you can play your games. But
Hmm.
what will happen is, as you're on this team page and as you get closer to your game time, so let's say Graham is going to be playing his series on time, that reschedule button will turn to join game once it gets to within 5 minutes of game time. It'll say join game on that reschedule button. It'll just change over automatically. So you click on that button and join game, and you will end up outside the park of wherever you're playing. If it's Wrigley Field, wherever you're playing, and you'll be outside the park, and you'll be waiting for your opponent to connect. So usually it just takes like a minute or two, and your other opponent will show up, and you both enter inside the stadium, and you actually get the visual of going inside the ballpark. You actually see yourself go inside the ballpark, and then you'll
Very
end
cool.
up on the roster screen. And that's your first GM decision is, am I going to send someone down to the minors? Am I going to bring someone up from the DL? So that's the first screen that you see, is that's your roster decision. And then it just plays like any other game that we've had. If you go to the how to play a series, we kind of went through that. I don't want to go and play a game because we covered that in so much detail, but you're off and running in terms of playing your game. So, um,
Can I ask you a question about this page? So
yes,
I'm getting used to it. I can see my recent transactions here. Had to stock up in the pitching a little bit because I had an injury as well. Only 3 games versus 88 or 90. But this button here, send league message. So I've gotten messages from the league, people talking about maybe a trade offer or whatever it is.
right.
Can you? So if I click that just to show people, it takes me to this send league message email template where I can click a subject and then I can say, looking to trade someone or whatever you're trying to communicate. My question is it feasible to email a team directly, or is every communication within the league format a kind of group communication?
No, you can send individual.
So if I want to
Uh,
send an individual email to Cincinnati, for instance,
yeah. So the way to do that is you go to so the send the league message goes to everyone, right? So
got it.
if you want to just send it to one of your league members, when you join the league, all
Hmm.
of the league members become your friends. Okay.
Got it.
So go back up to the top,
Hmm.
and right below messages is friends. So it's in the pull down. So in the messages, there's friends. So you're going to
Got it.
go to all your friends, and let's say you want to message me. Okay. So you can
Oh,
see
got it.
I am there, right?
Got it.
So you go send a message.
Got it. Okay. So I can send you a
So
message.
yeah, all of your league member friends are right there. So I will get your message, Graham.
Can you see what I'm writing on here?
Yeah, I can see it. Yep.
All right. All right.
And I will
Message
be
sent.
receiving your message now. And you just send it, and I just got
I'll
your
come back.
message.
Look at that. Very cool. I did not know how to
So
do that.
yes,
Okay.
you can contact now. Just to let people know, besides the internal league messaging, which is vital in the game, we also communicate via Slack, and
Hmm.
most people are probably familiar with that. So we have like Slack channels. One is for our draft. We have just like a talk one, trade
Hmm.
Slack channel. So we communicate there, and oftentimes people will message you on Slack even if they want to reschedule.
Right.
Yeah, so there's different ways of communicating, but this is the internal way of communicating. So I think that we covered everything on the team page, on the messages. Um,
If you want your computer manager to be on, you have to just turn autopilot on. I turned it off, but you can just click this button and turn it on, basically.
yeah, right,
Right?
right. So, but one of the main benefits of Dynasty League Baseball is the multiplayer. So when you're playing, each of you has your own screen. And after you finished your game, all of the stats, standings, leaders, everything is updated automatically in real time. You don't have to have files sent to a central commissioner and then him having to send out files. Everything is automatically updated in real time. If you've been in a different kind of a league where you've had to send files, exporting and importing, that just feels totally prehistoric compared to this
Hmm.
because it makes it so much easier. It takes a whole set of things out of the commissioner's hands that he doesn't have to deal with, and everyone can see everything right up to the second. You don't have to wait for an update to be sent out. You're seeing everything in real time that's happening in the league. So as soon as a game ends, your standings are updated, your stats are updated. You see the score, you know, in your on the league homepage. So that is absolutely fantastic. And the
Hmm.
games themselves are so easy to connect to. I can tell you that with the old Windows version that we had, it was a nightmare because we had to connect via various third-party software, and you had to share the screen, and you had to have IP addresses that you connected to, but
Mm.
often would not work. And so you could spend half an hour or an hour just trying to connect. It was so frustrating.
Mm.
And if any of you are out there that are playing in another game, you know exactly what I'm talking about, where it's, some people maybe they can connect easier than others, but it's a total pain. So with
Hmm.
with this whole our main goal with the online version was to make draft leagues really easy for the commissioner and the league members.
Hmm.
And I know that we've really accomplished that in so many aspects, from the updating of the stats and standings, from making it so easy to people to play multiplayer head to head against each other in one click. And it's
Hmm.
across the board. So if you are on a Mac, and I'm on Windows, we can easily play each other. If I'm on my iPhone and I'm playing against someone on Windows, we can easily play each other. Um, Android can play against iPhone or iPad. You can play on all your devices, and you can play. So when you have a subscription, you can play on all. So if you have a Windows computer and an iPad like I do, I can play on either of them with my subscription. I don't have to like pay for another subscription or pay extra to get an iPad app. That's all included in your subscription. So you could have a Mac, you could have a Windows, you could have an iPad, you could have an iPhone. You can play on any of those devices. It's all included. It's all inclusive, and you're allowed to be in up to five, actually four private draft leagues plus one of the greatest team leagues. So if you're in four draft leagues, that's a lot. That is a lot. So we just didn't want people to get into too many draft leagues and get over their head and then not really be able to participate fully in the draft league, because that is a lot. Even if you're like retired, um, to be in more than four draft leagues
Quite a
uh,
commitment.
is a lot.
You know, it's
So
funny you mentioned the connectivity, and that's just something I'm taking for granted here because I've never even had to think about it. You know, and that's funny as you're talking about it. I'm like, even when you have like a PlayStation, sometimes there's games you can only play against someone who's on a PlayStation, whatever. I never think about it. Sometimes I'm on my my work laptop, sometimes I'm on my cell phone, sometimes I'm on my wife's iPad. You know, so I never even question whether it's going to be easy to play. Like it's always just I haven't had
yeah,
one real
it
connectivity issue at all, which is kind of crazy.
the connectivity is outstanding. I mean,
Mm, agreed.
there are times if you have like a poor internet connection, it may get flaky on you.
Mm,
But if your internet connection is good, you should not have any issues at all on any of your devices. It just works, and it works so well. And we've had the online version since, let's say, 2010, 2011. It's taken quite a while to get all the league features in and all the
mhm,
new features, but it's really a full-blown experience right now for draft leagues. That's incredible. And we added the new Unity client, which has allowed just the reliability of using all the different browsers from Chrome, Firefox, um, the uh, and then all the mobile applications as well for
mhm.
iOS and Android. Um, so it really makes it easy for people to be in a draft league. So from the league member standpoint, um, all- I guess we just kind of glossed over this, but the commissioner will add you as a friend, okay? And then he'll invite you to the league. And then in your messages, you'll see a message saying you're in the league, and it'll automatically put you on your main screen. It'll have where we first started, um, your team. So that's how you access your league. You just click on your team, and away you go. So I think we pretty much covered everything from the league member standpoint. Let's take things from the commissioner standpoint, and let's um, go get into that for all the people who are commissioners or want to be commissioners. Let's click on the Dynasty League Baseball on the left side to get back to the home area there. And we're going to click on New League up on the top, and the pull down menu will say Private
Pri
Draft
Private
League.
draft league.
So that's what you want to click on to start your multiplayer private draft league. And we're just gonna be a test. We're just set up your private draft league. Click there. Okay. So let's call this Graham's League in the league name. We'll get real creative.
There you go. Love it. It's got a nice ring
And
to
you'll
it.
be able to delete this, by the way. And
Right.
number of teams, let's keep it at 12, okay? And so you're going to select, you can see there's a pull down, but
Yeah.
you want to have an even number of teams, by the way. Odd number of teams just is not going to work because of the scheduling. So you at least in the number of teams in the pull down menu reflects that. So you need to have an odd number of teams. Then you're going to select the number of the season length, okay, that you want to have. Like I said, ours is 108 games, but you
Whoops.
could have you could play a whole 162, 154, or a much smaller schedule. So,
Sorry that things got a little sideways there.
okay. And then you pick the season. So you can have a draft league with any of the seasons that we have. So in that pull down window for
Oh
starting the
wow.
player season,
Hmm.
you could start with 1957 if you wanted. You'd skip over like 10 years until 1967, which is the next season. But we do have a complete consecutive run of seasons from 1967 through 1975, and this year we'll be releasing 1976.
Hmm.
So you could go consecutively through all those seasons from 1967 through 1975 and just go one season to the next with your draft league. So that's how it was set up.
That's awesome.
Then you can select your co-commissioner, and that will be one of your friends that you select, and you can just invite them as a co-commissioner. DL length, I think you're gonna have a choice of either 10 days or 15 days, depending on the era that you want. And then you have the choice for the three batter rule for pitchers, which is a newer rule. Um, and then the Ghost Runner, which has just been released as of a couple days ago. If you want that for the more recent seasons, you can, or if you hate it, you just uncheck it. Um, Manage player contracts. That is the new salary contract page.
Hmm.
So if you check that off, you'll be able to manage all your player contracts, which is a great new feature. And then your salary cap, our salary cap is 300, so it just defaults to that, but you could change it. And then your in-season salary cap is the amount that you can go up to and you cannot exceed. If you have a trade or a transaction, cannot go above that. Um,
Got
and
it.
then you have your format for your leagues, your division. I strongly recommend, a lot of people want to do their custom leagues, but if you can stick to the choices that you have for the playoff setup, from the commissioner standpoint, it will make things so much easier because we spend a lot of time doing things like tiebreakers, um, and having your entire playoff series set up automatically for you. So many things are automated and make it so easy if you can select one of the options that's already preset for you. If you still want to do custom playoffs, you can certainly do that. But it is more, there is more of a setup in doing that.
And
So then you
I
have
know folks can't see the drop downs, but obviously for each of these, there's a drop down that provides you the option
yeah,
to
there's
select.
there's different setups in terms of if you want to have however many wild cards, divisions, but all those choices are there. And then if you're using the DH or not the DH, then the team customization options, the stadium pool options. So those are all pretty easy. You just have to decide what you want. So, and then at the very bottom, the league game day options. So ours is Sunday at 8 p.m., but you could change. So you have the choice of number of series your league will play each week. So we have one series a week, which I think is going to make it easier for you to recruit new players. As soon as you start moving to two series a week or more, um, it's going to make the league go faster, but it's going to be more difficult to recruit new players because of people's schedules. They may be in other leagues, so if they already are in another league and you're
Right.
playing two series a week, you're asking them to play a lot of games every week. So I recommend one starting out. If you find that once you get your league off the ground, you've played a few seasons. If you want to go to 2 series a week, but I strongly recommend one to start out with. And then you pick um, uh, your play times, and we can save those settings. Then Graham wants to get up in the morning and play at 8 a.m. That's fine.
Kids are still asleep at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So
So here I am. Boom. Commissioner
so then you've
page.
got your league. So yeah, and
Yep.
so in the commissioner menu, then you'll see, okay, Graham's league.
There's two because
Uh,
I hit it. I remember when I hit it and there was an issue. I had to go back. So that's why
yeah,
there's two. So I'm gonna guess it's this one.
you can delete um, the league easily too. So now we're at the page where you can invite your friends up in the upper right hand corner, and they will get a message, and then they accept, and then they become a league member. Okay.
Oh, cool.
So, and there's all your friends. You got a lot of friends there.
Wow. Who knew? Okay, cool. And then
So,
you can invite your friends. All right.
yeah. So you can invite your friends. And then so then you have your division settings. Let's click on that. So we don't have any teams in our league yet because our friends have not accepted our invite. But here's the interface for putting the divisions, and then you'll see the teams go in. You'll just put the teams in whatever division you want, and then away you go. You've got your national or American, and you can check off if the national's going to have the pitcher batting, then you don't want to check that.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, so that's how the divisions work. So and then once you start, or even once you've had your draft, you go to the edit rosters. And we don't have any teams yet, but if you click on that, that's the interface for putting players on the various teams.
Now I wonder if because I have no teams, I'm gonna try again.
Is it sending you out
Yeah, it
because
just
you have no
sends me out.
teams?
It's probably because there's no teams there. I
Probably
can't
because
edit
there's
the
no
roster.
teams. Yeah,
All
it's
right,
okay.
that makes
So
sense.
it's just a very simple interface. It just
Is it like
allows
the
you to.
one for the divisions where you move the players from like the main player pool into someone's team?
Yeah, so that it just
Or
works. So you select the team that you want to move the player to, and there's a whole free agent list of every player who isn't on a team, and
got
you
it,
just move them onto that team. It's very simple, very easy.
got it. Okay.
And then the league news, you can put league news as the commissioner. You can also at the end here, since these are just practice leagues, say the league news.
That's a nice touch. There's another piece I wanted to comment on here quickly, but so you got the league news. This is very interesting. So you've thought of the scenario where you've got a league, there's 12 players, someone has to leave, but you don't want to break up the team, similar to how I've joined the Sunday Night League.
Right, right.
I've taken over someone's organization, so you already have the capability built in here to have a brand new person take over that team. It's very cool.
Exactly. So you're just replacing one owner with a different owner with that option.
Got it.
So you have the open teams, and then you select the friend that you want to have that team taken
Right.
over, and then you invite your friend. So
Very cool.
really easy.
Very smart.
Um, and then yeah, at the end here, there's the delete league button that you can use, Graham, to delete these leagues.
Okay.
So since they're test leagues, you want to delete them so that you don't use up your leagues.
Uh,
Um,
got it.
so
What is this down here? This contract status and public
oh,
directory.
okay. So there is a league directory.
Mm-hmm.
Probably should have talked about that before. But if you click the allow contact, let me scroll back down there.
Mm-hmm.
If you click the allow contact, your league will show up on the league looking for new players tab in the league directory.
Oh,
So
cool.
that way, people who are visiting the league directory will know, hey, you've got openings in your league,
Hmm.
and in the league directory, they can contact you directly, and you'll get a message from a league member saying, hey, I see you have a league. You can just write your message. You have an opening. I'm interested in being in your league.
Mm,
So that's we can take a look at the league directory after we're done here. But yeah, so from the commissioner standpoint, though, that's where you can allow people to see that you have a league opening. If you disallow contact, that means you don't have any openings.
got it.
So
Okay.
that's what that is.
Interesting.
So
All right.
uh, yeah, and I think that pretty much covers it. Now, the thing that we did not cover is the schedule. Okay. So I told Graham before we started here that we're going to have like a whole separate episode on the scheduler to kind of explain that. But we can click on the edit schedule button
Clicking on that
just to
now.
give you an overview. It may not work because we have no teams.
Oh, it could be. It looks like it looks like
Yeah,
the machine is
it's
working.
probably not going to work because we don't have any teams. So we have to do, yeah, it's not created. So go back to the commissioner page.
Got it. But
Yeah,
ostensibly here there would be what would we see here in the scenario? We can maybe get a screenshot from
well, this
what we
isn't
see.
even a good example because it's not really showing you the schedule tool. We have to have
Got it.
teams to be able to
Oh,
show the schedule tool.
got it. Okay.
So we're kind of jumping the gun here, but
Got it.
you do have to build it series by series. So you need to create your schedule like outside of the game, okay? And create your schedule and create all your series. Um, in the Facebook group, if you've not been there, it's a great place to actually as commissioner post that you have openings, as a league member find leagues. But in the file section, Dan Troyden has provided many Excel files that list some of the most common league formats that um, team or leagues use, and he lists all of the series that are part of the schedule when you build the schedule. So all you have to do then is enter those series using the schedule builder tool for the commissioner.
Oh, interesting.
And that's because the most difficult part is actually making the schedule. Entering the series takes a little bit of time. You're going to
Hmm.
decide, okay, for this series, who's the home team? Is this played at night, this game? Is it played during the day? I don't want to get too much into the schedule tool, but you're entering each series. And for a smaller league, doesn't really take that much time. Larger league, it's going to take more time. But we can have a separate uh,
Deep dive.
episode on the scheduler, and we can show people um, more on the scheduler. But that's where once you have your league actually set up, that's your final step. And then once you finish the schedule, there's a button that says finalize league as the commissioner, and then that starts your league. And then everyone in your league receives a message. The league is starting. The new schedule is there. It will tell you, okay, here's your next opponent. So off you go. And you're running, it calculates um, the first. We should go right now. Go back to the Sunday Night Baseball League homepage just to show people the finished schedule and what that looks like.
Got it. I'm navigating back right now. Is it easy? I think the easiest way is for me to go back to the homepage, just click into my Chicago team, and then maybe there's a faster
Yeah,
way to do
so
this.
go
What's
back
that?
to the league homepage. Okay, so go to team schedule first. team, and
So
then
my
schedule.
team and then dropping down a schedule. Oh, got it.
Right.
Wow.
So here is your entire schedule. So you can see we started on the 12th of February, and
Mm-hmm.
then you can scroll down, and you should be able to see when the last series is. Scroll all the way to the bottom. So we finish up September 29th. You play me, the last series
That's
of the
right.
year.
Big series, playoff
So
implications for
yeah, so
sure.
we finish up September 29th, and it's like I said, it's like clockwork. So that will be the last series on that date, no matter what. So everything runs like clockwork. So that's all the you can see we have the days off. Um, so that's your whole schedule for the clubs. And then if you go to league and then schedule, you'll see the entire schedule for all the teams, not just your team. And there you go. So you can see um, for our first series, these are all the games that have been played, and then these are the current series, and then these are the ones coming up for the entire league.
Wow.
So
So we definitely have to do it. I want to know how we got from the schedule button to this. So we definitely have to do that deep dive another time.
yeah,
Uh,
and that's really the commissioner's job is to build the schedule. And the good thing about that is that, like in our league, we have 24 league members. Well, there's only one. Actually, I have our co-commissioner or our co-co-commissioner do the schedule because I'm the commissioner. Um, so he even does that for me. But then all the league members, they don't do anything. The schedule is all done for them. So there's nothing that they have to do as a league member. The commissioner takes care of building the schedule. So you get you, it's so easy for being a league member. You don't have to do anything. You just have to show up and play
Show
your
up and
game.
play. There you go. That's
Yeah,
right.
it's all you have to do. The commissioner, and for commissioners, that was our goal, is to make it really easy for commissioners because they don't have to worry about like exporting, importing files, trying to keep track of has whoever played their series. Because if they don't play their series, it just gets auto played, right? So everything is going to go on schedule. Um, so it's really, really easy for the commissioner. I would say probably, the setup for the draft, getting the schedule together, those are going to be your two biggest projects for a new league. Um, so, but we keep on adding new features for commissioners and the GM features, like this new contract feature. Really, it eliminated having to keep track of our contracts separately in an Excel page. That was our goal, to get rid of that. So that's just another thing that makes it easier for commissioners with that new feature. But for league members, it's so easy. So and you just have fun playing your games.
And honestly,
That's
there's always someone who, well, not necessarily always, but there's usually a great commissioner, right? One of your friends who likes to do that kind of thing. And then there's the rest of folks who just want to show up and play. So it's great that you've made that administrative piece a little less difficult for the people that are going to be the commissioners and then made it easy for everyone else just to play.
yeah,
So
you're right. It's like a certain type of person, and a great commissioner makes for a great league, right? So uh commissioners are like the MVPs, right? If you have a great commissioner, you're going to have a great league. And I can name
totally.
so many great commissioners that we have in our league directory. Um, so we really have a lot of fabulous commissioners running great leagues. So there's an abundance of it. So talking about all that, let's go to the main page here again and go to new league, and then you'll see the private league directory. It sounds like you haven't been there yet. So see private league directory.
I have not been here. Here I am. We're
Okay.
going right
So
now. I
we're all
just
going
went
to
to
go here. So you can see all these leagues. So we have over 100 draft leagues right now. So remember when we
wow.
had the button that said allow contact that we were talking
Yeah.
about in the commissioners? So that's just for this tab here. If you scroll a little bit further up. So this tab is for leagues looking for players, okay? And that shows all the leagues that are looking for players right now. Some of them are in their off season, but some of them are currently looking for players. And then at the very far right, that contact button, that will get you in contact directly with the commissioner. He will receive your email or your message, and you can say, hey, look, I want to be in your league if they have an opening. So it'll tell you the slots left. Um, Oftentimes, these same openings are posted in the Facebook group, and they might also have an email there. So, um, and there's a
It's cool
couple
that
of
you
these
can
leagues. Go ahead.
sorry to interrupt. It's cool that you can see like the season they're playing. So if you're like, oh man, I loved 1970. It's like, cool, this one's available. There's 5 slots left.
Yeah, right,
Hop right
right,
in.
exactly.
That's pretty cool.
So, and you can look at if you click on the league on the left-hand side, you can get some insight. Click on the Beer League Baseball, for example. So you can see like who's in the league, and you can see if they're a legitimate league, if they've been around for a while, or if it's kind of a flaky league that hasn't really gotten off the ground yet. But this league, you can see it has been around
That's
since
legit.
day one, basically. Yeah, they started right at the very beginning. So this would be a great league, if they ever had an opening to join. And I think that they just recently did have an opening, but you can see all the members of the league. This is a big league. Um,
Wow.
so it looks like they do have a couple openings. So you might want to contact the Beer League
There
Baseball
you
and see
go.
if you can get in there. So
Very
go
cool.
back out. We can look at some of the other leagues here. But yeah, again, this is if you're a league member looking to join a league, this makes it really easy. And these are updated in real time. So if the commissioner allows contact, you see it in real time. It's not like there's some static list of leagues. These are updated in real time in terms of what's happening. But by clicking on the league on the left, you can click on the California Penal League. I know that's been a league that's been around for a while, and that's got 24 teams. So click on
Sorry,
that.
I
We'll take a look.
I
I think
clicked
they've got
wartime.
one.
Apologies.
Which league are we in now?
Wartime.
Oh, that's another really good league. There's a lot of really good leagues. So that started in 19. Okay, so they're playing the 1993 season. So they're going forward from 1993.
Got it.
But Glenn is the commissioner of that league, I believe, the Cubs. He's a really good commissioner. Domingo, who's in our Sunday Night Baseball league, is in there.
Hmm.
So yeah, and Natalie, who's in our Sunday Night Baseball league, is in there. So yeah, that's a really good league. So highly recommend. And Brian Richard, who's Brian Richard. Go back to Brian here. He's the Cardinals. So I'm trying to remember his relationship, but he's related to Pete Richard. And I
Hmm.
don't know, Graham, if you remember Pete Richard, but he played. He was a pitcher, left-handed, I believe, for the Baltimore Orioles.
Oh wow, I don't. The name doesn't
Pete
totally ring
Richard,
a bell.
yeah.
Richard. Okay.
So he
Interesting.
played like in the 70s mainly. I don't think he might have played in the 60s as well. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah,
Brian's
so
been in the Pennant for the last 2 years, so he's knocking on the door
yeah,
himself.
yeah, and he's been right
All
there.
right. Very
So yeah,
close.
so there's a lot of really great leagues that you can join. If you're a commissioner and you think that you're up to that, you can start your own league. The league doesn't have to be, like 24 teams like ours. We had to go through a few expansions, but if you would start with, and I really recommend. as much as possible, starting out with like a group of your friends that you've known for a while, if possible. So if there's like, let's say, four of your friends that want to get together, well, then they may know another friend, or and then you may recruit someone into your league, and they may have a friend. So that's kind of how it works. And then someone, may find you in the private league directory, if you want to do an expansion.
Hmm.
But I think those tend to be the leagues that are the most successful, is the ones that at least have that core group of friends that start out. The Sunday Night Baseball League, we started out as using the board game, and everyone would come over to my house in Brookfield, Wisconsin, and we'd sit around the table and we'd all play at the same time. And it was so much fun, playing head to head. But then as people moved away or whatever, now with the new online version, we've got, you know, I've got friends all over the place in different states. So this is a great way to be connected. And even if you're in the same state, you might be, 30 miles away. So it might take a while to go try to meet, face to face. So um, it's a great way to have leagues. It makes running leagues so easy. And I remember with the the advantage of having the playing with the board game is just the face to face in person contact. That's hard to replace. But there are so many advantages of the online league. Some of the ones I've mentioned are like everything runs like clockwork because of the scheduling. With the board game league, I had to try to call people to, if they were behind with their games or whatever, and then you had to create your own stats reports and league standings. All that had to be done by hand. It wasn't automated or wasn't generated. And I would only come up with league standings maybe once or twice a month. So, you could keep track of your stats. That was kind of optional, but there were like no league leaders that were there or team stats. We didn't have any of that, So the online version just brings all that statistical tracking into play. And it also keeps track of like the rest for your pitchers, the injuries. I mean, just the tracking is huge. It's a huge advantage being able to track everything. Um, it
Well,
makes
it's
things
also,
so easy.
yeah. I mean, I have to say, having not played in one before, and I kind of did it backwards, just because, as fate had it, I met the people in real life, and then you invited me to the league after the fact. So it's kind of funny
Right.
because I actually met the owners, and I was like, "Oh, it's cool, you're in this league." And everyone was talking about the league and how much they liked it and how competitive it was and everything. And then to be invited into it, yeah, it's definitely very cool. I'd played before against my brother and friend, but it's cool to be in these leagues because, especially one established like this, and it's cool that we just got to see how many are out there that may have an opening or whatever. But how competitive it is. So yeah, when you're face to face with your best friend, it's very competitive. But this is very competitive. Like these are leagues that have been around for a long time, and people have taken it seriously. So
Yeah,
that
and you
makes the
get to
makes
be
games really fun.
friends with your
Right.
it becomes a really fun thing with getting to know the league members. And we had an outing. So Graham was talking about meeting the league members. I invited Graham to our Sunday night baseball get together at Philadelphia at Citizens Bank Park. We went to a game in September. So we had, oh, I don't know, we had an entire division, I think, of members. I think we had maybe, I don't know, 6, 7 league members all come to Citizens Bank Park. So we all got together, and I know just about everybody. I've met everyone in our league in person, except for I think 2 people. Um, but yeah, it's and just the reaction from our league members when they we got together, they just said how fabulous and what a great experience it was getting together and going to the game and just talking about the league, and you have such great friendships that get built. So that is irreplaceable.
100%. And well, thanks for taking us through it today. I'll go back through here and delete Graham's leagues, but it was very
Okay.
cool to see how to set one up, and obviously it's a lot of fun participating one. So
Yeah,
we'll circle.
we covered quite a bit, but
Yeah,
it becomes, if, as you're joining a league, the commissioner kind of takes you through things, but it's easy. It's really easy to be a league member in a league. And it's really, you just play, like we said before, you just play the games and have fun. So
cannot recommend it enough. And we'll circle back and do a schedule tool video as well down
sounds
the road
good.
here. But awesome, thanks, Mike. Really appreciate it, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you, Graham.
Take care.